Welcome to the Mid-Atlantic Bad Takes. Shouting loud, no time for breaks. Feel the fire, the pulse, the stakes. This is where the world shakes. Welcome to the Mid-Atlantic Bad Takes.
All right. Well, I said there was a chance we were going to be back within a day, and here we are. Brady and I to talk about good old Michael Elias making moves. So we'll start back on July 30th here. We traded Zane Barnhart, 24-year-old Double-A reliever in Bowie, with an ugly ERA for the past few seasons for Jake Rogers because we needed catching help. So that happened. And then we trade Dean Kramer away to the Twins, and we only get one player back, and he's an outfielder. Yay. Exciting. More outfielders in our system. He's 18, and he's in the Florida League. So, yeah, that's happening too. So we make that move, which makes no sense. And then come to today, we make moves like crazy. So first domino to fall is Adley Rutschman. And that was being reported 11 in the morning, just around there. Taylor Ward technically was the first domino to fall. But for Taylor Ward, we got Alex Hoppy, Brock Moore, and Harrison Creeling, all right-handed pitchers. So we got 3 pitchers out of that. Now, are they top of the line pitchers? No. But I think, as I said yesterday, they're going to be those mediocre ones that, failed starters that hope you can turn into bullpen pieces. So we got that. And then Adley goes. Now, I did also say yesterday it was going to take the farm this for an Adley Rutschman trade. And the Red Sox did give up the farm. Now, funny thing is, Jake Rogers, who we acquired just a few days ago, was part of that trade. So out of that, we got Anthony Jansen, who is now our number 1 prospect, number 49 overall. ND Azokar and Kyson Witherspoon, who are like our number 8, 9 prospects. And then we got Carlos Narvaez to kind of replace Jake Rogers on the big league level for catcher. So we got the farm. We'll talk about that, though, what we think about that. Now, the Tyler Wells deal. This is just for a back out of that, which was a piece I was devastated to. Yeah, Tyler Wells just for Michael Foray. We didn't get anything else out of that. We just got Foray back. We hold on to Trevor Rogers, and then we make these minor trades that are just mind-boggling. So we trade for Christian Franklin from the Nationals, 26-year-old outfielder who's never seen the big leagues. We traded with the Brewers for Cody Hewer, who was on their 40-man, is a reliever with a look-in ERA. And then we traded with the Marlins for Reese Hines, who at one time was a big-name prospect like 4 years ago and played second, now has moved to the outfield. Yeah. What is your thoughts on all of this, Brady, before I start flipping out?
I mean, I don't like my first initial thought is when you trade Adley Rutschman is you're admitting that your rebuild, your launching point was a failure, and I don't say necessarily they're going to tear it down and rebuild again. I don't think they're going to need to do that. But I definitely think they are now retooling everything and going to like try again, which is frustrating, especially when, I mean, 2 years ago, everybody thought that the Orioles, everybody in MLB, not just Orioles fans, but everybody thought the Orioles were going to be like the new juggernauts of baseball. Like they were going to be, probably not as good as the Dodgers and stuff, because obviously the Dodgers are spending billions of dollars, but the Orioles with their young core were going to be, going to be running the AL, being top contenders for a long period of time. And then it just all fell apart. And now 2 years ago, I said, 2 years ago, I said realistic possibilities that we are looking at least one World Series, uh, appearance from the Orioles. Like that was the hope. And the frustrating thing for me, the reason that when we were talking yesterday, I said I just don't want more prospects, is that the only thing that prospects tell me is you're telling me, oh, not now, but in 2 years from now, not now, but in 3 years from now. Like, are we just going to continue to play this game where we, you know, bring up our top prospects, play them, trade them up? Like, is this going to be, are we going to repeat this with Gunnar in a couple of years or next year? And then, like, I mean, obviously, you do this with Gunnar, you're probably going to get, like, the haul of a lifetime if that's what you're getting for Elliot Rutschman. But I don't want to repeat this with Gunnar. I would like to sign Gunnar, I would like you to make Gunnar the face of the franchise next to Pete Alonso. Obviously that all depends on whether Gunnar wants to sign here or not. And it's just like, that's the other thing. It's like, you trade Adley Rutschman, what are you telling your roster? Like, Adley Rutschman was your guy, and now you're moving off him. And it's not like I'm unhappy with the haul. I mean, on paper, the Red Sox gave up more for Adley Rutschman than the Dodgers gave up for Derek Skubal. The Dodgers got one top five prospect gave up one top five prospect for Derek Skubal, and then the other ones were like middling team prospects. So it's like, and I don't even know if they gave up a single top 100 prospect in that deal. Maybe
just one, I think, would have been the number 2 guy they gave up.
Yeah. So it's just like, that to me is the funniest part about all this. When you look at this on paper, the Orioles got more for Adley Rutschman than he got for Skubal. So it's just so that's not upsetting. I mean, it is like, I just think Adley Rutschman is no longer an Oriole, and that's just, it's just like, it brings back Manny Machado memories. It brings, 2018 when everything fell apart.
Yeah, because like when Manny got hauled up, that was like the face of, Adam Jones was the face of it, but Manny was the face of the future of what continued success could look like.
Right.
That's what Adley was, is what our future success can look like. Adley was that face because he was the first one to #1 draft pick. He was the first one Michael Elias drafted, and like, he was going to be the face of the entire rebuild pretty much. He was going to be the one that puts us in the right direction. Now,
and so
my issue with this, though, Basayo cannot catch every day. And we traded away the one guy that is catching to the Rays when we got Boz, because we moved Ike Irish to the outfield. You
are going to have to, probably not this year. This year, we're probably looking at like dealing with, a backup catcher. Boz is gonna, or not Boz, but Basayo's gonna catch the majority of the rest of the games. He's not gonna catch every day, obviously, but you're gonna look at like every like third or fourth game, we're gonna have just a dead bat in the lineup. But going into next season, because obviously, like, we didn't buy at all, so the Orioles are
we bought
into what?
We bought. Guess what we bought? We bought a ton of failed prospects to take the place. We're not even calling up our own prospects to take the place.
I mean,
of these
we
people.
won't know that until tomorrow what they do. what they do. I mean, we don't know what they're gonna do until tomorrow, and then
Oh, we
obviously
know
going
what we're
into
gonna do. Come
September.
on, you trade for Reese Hines, you trade for that Brewers dude, and you trade
But
for another
yeah,
guy. Come on, you know they're not
but
calling up
like
any of our guys.
my point though is like, so for next year, you're gonna have to go out and sign, a a solid veteran catcher to be your backup. Someone like who the Phillies have. I don't know if he's a free agent, but if they signed him,
Oh,
that would be awesome.
Realmuto,
Yeah,
yeah.
Remuto,
Well,
I take it. He's a fantastic
yeah.
defensive catcher.
I mean, you're basically gonna have to find an older catcher on the
Yeah,
market who doesn't have the high value that he used to because he's older
right.
at this point.
Yeah, yeah.
That's who you're gonna have to find.
We need a James McCann 2.0 is what
Yeah.
we need. Um, so there's that. That's obviously add that to the list for the offseason, and you got to find yourself a premier backup catcher, a veteran guy who can help out your young star. And then moving off of Tyler Wells just pisses me off because like this guy, he's got you can still make him a starter next year, or he's been dominant in the bullpen. He's a dominant back end piece. I comfortable having him as your closer the rest of the way going forward. Now that's not a thing, and you're giving up controllable years for him again for another prospect who, like, okay, I will
Hey,
say,
he wasn't our system, and he looked good
yeah,
when we traded him away.
I will say a lot of the prospects that we got back for Adley and Wells. Well, we only got one for Wells, but two of the guys we got for Adley and then this guy for Wells. If you look at their like major league ETA, like what it
Oh yeah,
says,
it's like next season.
it's like next season. So like, but again, it's just it goes back to that, like, when is it gonna be this season, right?
Well, here's the thing: this whole Mikey Elias has this fixation with prospects. He likes to keep them prospects as long as possible. And when they get called up, they don't get a ton. Like Adley and Gunner were the only ones I can really say had a very long leash and got to play every day. Who else have we called up that got a long leash? Like seriously, like they come up.
Westberg,
Yeah, but
when
he was hurt all the
when
he
he,
was hurt all the
well,
time.
he was not when he first came up. When he first came up, he was healthy, but then obviously, like the last couple of seasons, he's been hurt. But 2023, he was given,
Yeah,
you know,
but like
but it helped that he pretty much came up and succeeded.
yeah, but it's just Cowser didn't get a long leash when he first came up. Stowers definitely didn't. Beavers
Yeah.
didn't. It's like you play a day, you sit on the bench for 2 days. It's like at some
I
point,
mean,
Mikey
yeah,
Elias has to trust he made the right picks
yeah.
and he traded for the right people. You have to call them up. I'm tired of this. Let me claim someone off waivers. Let me pull a stupid trade off right now. Like, what is Reese Hines going to offer that Enrique is not offering right now? Seriously, Reese Hines is
Yeah.
struggling. He struggled since he became this top name 4 years ago because in 29 games he was one of the best Reds second base. Like it was the next coming of Brandon Phillips, everyone thought, and then he's been in the minors like ever since. He couldn't figure it out after that. So it's like, what is Reese Hines going to offer that Enrique cannot? Why can't you give someone a chance? Like
I know.
seriously.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like you at least have to call up. For me, in my thinking, you at least have to call up Kerstad tomorrow. Like I don't think there's an excuse not to call up Kerstad, especially because since he's been healthy and in the minors, he's been fantastic.
He's on the 40 man. You're
Yeah,
wasting away his years on the 40 man. You
I know.
gotta do something.
And like beyond that, it's like there's also like if you're giving up on this year, like there's some pieces they left on the board too that I'm curious why they didn't trade.
Well, Tyler Rogers one is baffling to me because
I'm hoping
either
that it's a sign
that
that
better
they're
be an
signing him.
extension. That better be an extension because
I want
that's just a waste.
Yeah. Like by this time, like next week, or at least by the end of the year, I want to see Tyler Rogers like a 2 to 5 year, or sorry, a 3 to 5 year extension for
Yeah,
Rogers.
like if you kept Rogers and you're just not going to re-sign him. What's the point? There's no value there. And then guess what? Now you got to offer a qualifying offer, which is probably going to be 20 plus million. Who knows if that's going to still be a thing with the next CBA of qualifying offers. So if the qualifying offer goes out the window too, you got nothing. We got nothing for Rodgers at that point if he doesn't resign with us. So there's just moves that are, we just made moves that are just, some are not baffling. Like the Red Sox gave up a ton for Adley, so I get why you have to pull the trigger on that because they're just like, here, they're just do as much as possible.
And, you know, I don't know if it's true or not, but there were reports before the deadline that the Orioles had talks with Adley as recent as like June about signing extensions, or like May this year about signing an extension, and Adley's camp wasn't going for it. And if that's the case, if you're not certain you can sign somebody, if somebody wants to test free agency before they give you definite answers, then you know what, you gotta. At this point, I'm glad they. Like I hate that Adderley's gone, but I'm glad that they traded him when they could at his highest value.
Well, he's at his highest value, but at the same time too, it's Adley probably wanted to see what we were going to do in the trade deadline as well. Are we actually going to try to bring in guys to help us win now, or are we once again kind of just peddling around this thing of, well, we can just bring in the waiver claims and they'll do the trick. The waiver claims aren't working, Michael Ox.
I mean, I think it sends a mixed message to your players. Honestly, you know, you
extended all these people.
Yeah, you in the last year, you extended, or you gave a contract to Basayo before he even made his major league start. You know, which is
Boz. As soon as we traded for Boz, we signed him to an extension.
Boz signed for an extension.
Radish, and Cano.
So it's like you're sending these mixed messages, and it's so funny that also like the majority of prospect pools that the Orioles have gotten the last couple of years too in the trades that they've done is like pitching. When it's like we could have traded for pitching to begin with, buddy. Like,
but we're not even calling. Nunez is the only pitcher we traded for in the past 2 seasons that we've called up. We're not calling any of them up.
The last season, the pitchers were a bit younger. I will say they were like good but younger pitchers. This season, they did call up, or they did trade for some guys who are in AAA. One guy
or AA,
but even the guy in AA, they say they still have an ETA of him for next year. So
well, it's
who
like
knows what's going on there.
You look at the pitchers we traded for that were in the minors when we traded for him. You know, like Bradish was part of that Bundy deal. He's one that's caught up, and then Nunez is who we got from the Cedric Mullins deal. We haven't called up any other pitchers that we were traded for. You know, like the rest of our trades have been Jorge Lopez, who was a teetering 40-man person when we traded him, like when we got him from the Twins, right? Or when we traded him to the Twins, we got Cano back out of that. So Cano was like one of those people that was a teetering 40-man. Lopez is one at one point. And then we traded for Rodgers and Eflin and all of that, Corbin Burns, but they were already big league pitchers. It's like, I don't understand the whole Michael I's fascination with prospects if you're just not going to do anything with them.
No, this is to me where it's like, I just think, you know, at the end of the season, and I don't think they're going to do it. And I don't know if I necessarily want them to do it, especially with like going into an uncertain offseason with like the CBA coming up and everything. But I just think it's time for Michael Elias to move on because he's shown no ability to adapt. He's shown no ability to reevaluate. And again, like even like guys like Elodie Taveras, who I think have done good things for the team this year. It's like, to me, I look at Elodie Taveras and I just see a guy who's blocking somebody in the minors. You know, these guys you're hoarding. And I love what Elodie Taveras has done, especially against righties, especially bunting to get on, and his defense has been, you know, he's made a few defensive mistakes, but he's been a solid defender.
He's been a solid, like when Kowser's not in center, Tavares is the one you trust. There's nobody else
Yeah.
you want to throw out there. I think Tavares is the one.
Yeah. And that's my point. It's like every time I see like a guy like Tavares, and he's not the only one on the team like this, but it's just like you're just hoarding all these prospects, and then you go out and you know you make a minor, like you make a trade for Elodie Tavares, or not Tavares, you make a trade for Tyler Ward, and you give up Rodriguez. And like I understand moving off of Rodriguez because the guy who could not
Yeah.
stay healthy and
I mean,
just
it was the same. It
didn't.
was the same with DL Hall. It was an easy ad
Yeah.
because it's just he couldn't stay healthy with us.
Yeah. And so I understand that. So you get Taylor Ward, but again, it's like you got Taylor Ward because you don't trust your prospects, but then you continue to hoard the prospects in the minor league and not start in the major league. So it's like, what are we doing?
Same with signing Tyler O'Neill. It's like,
yeah,
that's when Kowser was being held down. Same with
Yeah.
Stowers, and it's like we just hold these guys down, and we don't get anywhere.
Yeah.
So I don't
It's
know.
like-
I'm just
like
I'm so over it.
yeah. It's like the Pete Alonso signing is the only signing of that caliber where I'm like, yes, this is a superstar that you can bring in to add to your young core. But then you have all these other pieces that you bring in on top of that who just clog up the line. And I just don't, you're not going to get anywhere with that.
Yeah, no, it's Michael Elias is great at building up a farm system, but I think he's proving to be that's all he's good at. He's
Yeah.
not good at evaluating if they're going to be big league material and here for the long run. Like the only reason Adley and Gunner and some of these guys, when those two like worked out really well, high draft picks. I mean, they were just like, I mean, they were already highly valued, you know, that these guys are gonna do something. And at some point, like I don't know what it is, but Michael Elias needs to step away from the GM role, be the president of baseball operations. If that's the title they give him, take that title. Let someone else deal with the big league roster if ownership is so hell bent on keeping Michael Elias around in the fold.
I mean, I would, if Michael Elias could let go of that responsibility of building the 40 man, like truly let somebody else handle it, I'd be all for letting him keep the president job. Obviously, there's some brilliant moves he's made. And he's, again, you have to credit him for the rebuild was good. It's just he didn't capitalize on it.
Yeah. He values.
Yeah.
He went all in for Corbin Burns, and when that didn't work, he stopped. That's literally what happened. You know, we went all in with the Corbin Burns deal, but it's like
even
just
you
because
go all in,
we didn't do it. Like,
well,
you don't
even
give
you
up.
go all in for you go all in for Corbin Burns, and then what do you do on that trade deadline? Nothing. Like,
well, we
you
got
go and get some,
Eflin. We picked up Eflin on that one.
Okay, yeah, okay. So we got Eflin, but then like obviously like Rogers was a project piece.
Was the one after, right? Yeah.
Like Rogers was the project piece. It's like you got Eflin, which is great, but you didn't go out and get a stud. You didn't go out and build up your bullpen. You know, you got
You didn't do what Dan Duquette did because
Yeah.
so Dan Duquette actually recently said this where everyone was ticked off. We traded Eduardo Rodriguez for Andrew Miller, and he's like, that's who the Red Sox kept coming back to. I sent them 40 different players. I even had 5 players in a trade package for Andrew Miller. All they wanted was Eduardo Rodriguez. That's all they wanted. And he said the Tigers were in on him too. The Tigers were going to give up Robbie Ray, and Boston called Dan Duquette back and said, if you give us Eduardo, Andrew's yours. So he pulled the trigger. You know, that was a win now move. That is I wanted to solidify the back end of that bullpen because it was Britton's first year closing. So you didn't know if Britton could have a meltdown. I mean, obviously he didn't, but you just didn't know.
Yeah.
And Andrew Miller's that security blanket of we have this in case. Where it's a short game. We can pitch 5 innings as a starter and we can the bullpen can take it away from there.
Yeah. I mean, and then, the other thing too is like, you can go back to when we got Flaherty, the year before in
Oh
the
yeah.
trade deadline. And it was
Mhm.
like that season was like our best uh like that season was like, you know, the launching point season, right? That's what the famous
Yeah.
liftoff time. But it's like if you look at how dominant the Orioles were that season, and then if you look at that trade deadline, and the biggest only piece that I remember from that trade deadline was fucking Jack Flaherty, who was awful. It's like
Well, yeah.
you could have pulled the trigger then. You could have pulled the trigger at any point.
Mhm. But and you just look at all those prospects that we had. I mean, how many of them are on the team
Yeah.
at this point,
And
right? Hauser.
you know, I shared this in the group chat earlier, but I'll read it out here again because this is just it's one of these tweets that you look back on and you're just, oh my God, what could have been?
Yeah.
But it's Jeff Passan, July 5th, 2023. In the last year, the Orioles have promoted Adley Rutschman, Gunnar Henderson, Grayson Rodriguez, Jordan Westberg, and now Colton Cowser to the big leagues. And they've still got Jackson Holliday, Kobe Mayo, Heston Kjerstad, Samuel Basayo, and more to come. A ridiculous system. And you didn't take advantage of any of that. Now, obviously, you know, some of these names, Kobe Mayo has struggled, Heston has struggled with health, Colton Cowser has struggled, Jordan Westberg has
Westberg is
struggled with
struggling
health.
with health.
But you
Basayo
know,
is struggling with health
it's
right
like
now.
if you could have taken advantage of these names while they were hot, you know?
Mhm. Well,
And
so here's the thing now. Guess what? The farm system's stacked again. We just stacked it back up past 2 seasons with all these trades. So
yeah,
Paul's and Michael Elias has scored again. Like, we can't play
yeah,
this prospect game of hoarding. You either got to call them up and see what you got or trade them.
exactly. And that's the thing. We got what looked to be like 4 stud pitchers coming into Baltimore. You can
Yeah.
only you're not gonna run. You signed 2 starting pitchers. Hopefully you sign Rogers, and you're not gonna run a 7, 8 man rotation. That's just not gonna happen.
Well,
So these
yeah.
obviously, you know, unless I mean I'm assuming, you know, you could make one of these guys a bullpen piece or whatever, but like also these are also like you gotta do something with them besides from keep them in your system because
Well, here's
you're
the
not
thing. Right now, you got 3 future guys in the rotation. For certain. Young, Bradish, Fox. That's certain. They're here. They're here to stay. Where are we going to go from that? Like, there's some names in free agency. The ownership has said we're willing to spend, but I don't. Michael Elias hasn't put down any money except for Pete Alonso, which is still good, but at the same time, he's put down some bad contracts. A lot of other
right.
pick them out very well. Tyler O'Neill, Gary Sanchez. Like
Yeah.
he hasn't been smart with a lot of other free agent stuff. So
I don't
do we go and finally get the big name in free agency? Because we passed on Max Fried, was passed on Ranger Suarez. Like at some point you gotta go and get the big name.
yeah. And you know, even if you don't want to sign a guy or something like that, do what you were saying. Go trade for a big go trade for a young big name, you know? Go put your chips in on somebody like
Hunter Green. That's what I wanted. I
yeah,
wanted to see us go for
Hunter
Hunter
Green,
Green.
you know, or
Seriously.
go
Emerson
put your chips
Hancock.
in on
Like teams are willing
what's
to
his
do it.
name? What's his name from the Brewers who are they're never gonna trade, but you know,
Oh,
it'd be fun to,
Mizorowski.
yeah, it'd be fun to
Yeah.
daydream. Like go put these chips in. You stock up the farm system, but you don't have enough room for them. Go put those chips in on the big name that if you don't want to spend the 200 million, the 300 million on,
Yeah.
you know, a true ace, go put your chips in on a big up and coming name or a big young
Yeah.
guy who you know is just going to grow and succeed, you know?
Like seriously, let's get the guy that's got 3 years of control. Even though
Yeah.
he's not going to hit free agency in 3 years, guess what? That's 3 years. Hunter
Yeah.
Green would be 3 years of just like, I like this rotation because guess what? That's 4 guys we got in that rotation for that long. You know, they're not
Exactly.
going anywhere unless we trade them.
Yeah, it's just I'm just tired of sitting in neutral since 2023, 2024. Just feels like we've been
Yeah.
sitting in neutral waiting.
Yeah. I mean, it's just this was the deadline to build for next season. And some of these guys have the ETA dates then, but Michael Elias is going to hold them down
Yeah,
because that's what he does.
ETA dates are ETA dates. You never know
Yeah.
what could,
Yeah.
you never know
It's
what could
just
pop up.
like Hunter Green, Emerson Hancock. Guess what? Those guys are now and the future. And it's just like you send that message to the team. What I did not work. This is not working what we have right now. That's why I had to trade Adley. That's why I had to trade away Tyler Wells. But I did go all in for, like, if we went all in for someone else, I would have said not as, like with the deadline, I give it a B-, and Adley trade is the only reason that saves it more than anything. But at some point, like if we went after Hunter Green, that shoots us up into a holy crap, next year we're a force to be reckoned with, because guess what? We got Hunter Green, or we found another like middle infielder, right? With 3 years of control that's crushing it, like for the like on some other team at the moment that they just need help. They're desperate for help, with bullpen help or something like that. It's like we just need to pull the trigger on something. And I think that Corbin Burns deal has made him gun shy to do anything else. Just because you don't win a playoff game and you don't go all the way, doesn't mean you quit. Like, seriously.
And I mean, the other thing is with the Corbin Burns deal, I don't think DL Hall is in the majors anymore.
Well, he's been hurt all the time. Joey Ortiz has just been a steady presence at third base for them.
It's like, but the thing is, like, Joe Ortiz, he doesn't knock the cover off the ball. I mean, he's a solid player, but it's not like it's not like I'm watching Joey Ortiz night in and night out,
thinking like we had Gunnar Henderson 2.0 that we could have had up the middle. Like,
man, we could have had Joey Ortiz at third base this year. I'm not hurt about that.
Yeah, the only thing I wish at that point was Westberg was the one, and that nothing else. Westberg, he's just hurt. Joey Ortiz is at least playing.
I know, and that's the tough thing too, is because if I take injuries out of the equation and say do I want Westberg or Joe Ortiz, I'll take Westberg every day of the week. Yeah. But like everybody's fond of saying, the best ability is availability. So it's just like one of those things where it's like I don't regret the Corbin Burns trade.
Oh yeah,
if we sign Trevor Rogers, I won't regret the Trevor Rogers trade either.
Yeah, well, Connor Woody just got traded to the Rockies today.
I saw that. Yeah, Connor. I hope he just gets
I think
for that.
Dude, Colorado's I hope that bat plays in Colorado. I mean, he can hit. He can hit. It's just let's see what happens. But I mean, here's the thing, because right now that Rogers, it's not a win-lose or a lose-win for anyone. It's a win-win. Stowers was a all-star, and we got Trevor Rogers, who was been a great pitcher for the past year and a half. So it's like,
I just think if they sign him, there will be absolute no regret for the Trevor Rogers trade. And that's the thing. It's like you're giving up these names, but I'm not regretting it. I still think you probably could have got Trevor Rogers for cheaper than what you paid him, but
because like Duquette, there was just a couple trades like when we were just teetering. It was like, dude, why are we making these trades? And especially in 2015, what were we, 500 the whole season pretty much? And it's just like you gave up Zach Davies for Gerardo Parra, who only plays a week and is hurt the rest of the season. It's like, come on, man! Like, we didn't need to make that trade. Same with Tim Beckham.
I think it's just one of those things where, in a sense, there's a mindset of like, this is our window. We have to keep the window open versus.
Well, that was his mindset. Is this is the window, and I just have to go all in. Yeah. And I'll give it to Dan Duquette. He went all in. He traded away every prospect just about to go all in. But Michael Elias he doesn't know what he wants to do. Mike, like I get you don't want to be the Texas Rangers right now, where you win all in for that World Series and now you're stuck with bad contracts and you're stuck. Like everyone invoked their no trade clause on the
Right.
Rangers. DeGrom did, Seager did. Like everyone was saying, I don't want to be traded. Like,
Yeah.
like so it's. I know you don't want to be stuck with the bad contracts, but you don't have to. You know, guess what? If you trade your prospects for guys that 3 years, Hunter Green is only 3 years. You don't like it. Guess what? It's not long term, and
Yeah.
it's arbitration. It's not like you're in a legit contract where he can have the no trade clause. It's just arbitration.
Yeah. You can, like, there's nothing that says you can't move off 100 green in a year or two if it's not working out. Like,
yeah, like you can buy these young guys with 3 years of control. Now, does it cost you prospect capital? Yes, but you got to be willing to just deal from it. You got to figure out, like, he needs to figure out this young core. I don't think he's calling up any prospects after all these stupid minor league trades he just made. I think we're going to get these 26, 27-year-olds that have never played in the bigs before or that are going to get this opportunity.
I just think, okay, we're out of the trade deadline. Bare minimum, Holiday is your everyday second baseman, and Beavers is your everyday left field, right field. I don't care. He can play both, but whatever. But Beavers is your everyday guy. Holiday is your everyday guy. I would love for you to call up Kerstad and have him, right field or DH.
Well, now's the prime opportunity because Basayo's hurt. So guess what? DH is open. You can stick Tyler O'Neill at DH, and you can have Kerstad playing right field all day.
I think Tyler O'Neill is probably the better right fielder.
Yeah, but I mean, Tyler O'Neill gets hurt like nobody's business. So.
But so like Kerstad, it's like, honestly, get him up here, show him off a little bit. Hopefully he breaks, and then in the offseason, package him. Like,
I mean, that was the thing. We didn't show, like, Stowers didn't get time to show off. Guess what? I'm happy, and neither did Norby. So guess what? Those two for Rogers worked out because they didn't have a lot of showing off.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't getting any time to show off because they were riding the bench in the big leagues. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
He needs to just figure out the direction of this team. I don't think there is one at the moment.
I just want to know is, what his leash is with ownership, because obviously, David
Rubenstein keeps supporting him.
Yeah, David Rubenstein has said he's our guy. He's the guy we're putting every faith into. And it's like, that's great, David, but how many losing seasons? This is the second losing season. So how many losing seasons are we going to sit here before your faith wanes? And I know, again, this is an odd offseason coming up because you just don't. It's the uncertainty. Mm-hmm. And I understand not moving off Mike Elias right now because you just don't want a new GM coming into like this situation where you don't know what's going to happen. But again, it's just like we're in the 2 losing seasons. If next season happens and we're playing like 120 games and then that's a weird season, and then you go to next season after that and Gunnar Henderson's coming up on free agency, what are we like? Where are we going from here?
Well, I mean, in all honesty, I don't know how much. If Gunnar does not get extended, I think, before the CBA expires, there's a couple guys right now that could be in the bigs in 2028. And I could see them just moving off Gunnar too.
And I mean, again, it's just more frustration too when it comes to like these different eras. I'm just like, I'm tired of, these guys that you hype up and then not extend. I love walking through the statue patio out in center field. I love looking at those statues. I love looking at the numbers retired and everything. I would love in my lifetime to see another, guy come in and be, he doesn't have to necessarily be a career, Oriole.
No, but like if he's a Frank Robinson type guy where he's here for a decent chunk of time and contributes to something.
Yeah, or
winning,
an Eddie Murray who was there for a decade, then came off. came back without like
Yeah.
a guy who's
I mean,
here for a
I
good
want to
chunk of his career.
I want
Adam,
to see Adam Jones, Chris Davis. I want to see
Yeah.
the next guys that are here for 8 years,
Yeah.
8 to 10 years. Like,
exactly.
I mean, how many posts I saw today of like, what am I supposed to do with this Adley Rutschman jersey? That was the hype of the rebuild right there. That was the face. And guess what? He's gone.
It's just I want somebody who's gonna stay here for their prime and hopefully win.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've been through it before. Markakis leaving and all of that too. Markakis was one you wanted to stay forever. Brian Roberts was one you wanted to stay forever. Like, Manny Machado was the one you wanted to stay for a chunk.
The Manny Machado one, it was like, especially with the old ownership.
Yeah, we offered him early was the thing. I think we went 10 years, 200 million, and he rejected, and then we never came back after that. We never offered him.
Yeah, I just don't. I think the old ownership was like, I think their number was like for Chris Davis was like, oh, we're gonna give this guy a superstar. Like that's the number we're comfortable with.
Here's the thing: we bet against ourselves on Chris Davis. We were the only ones putting in contract offers.
And I know, but like what I'm saying is like, Manny Machado got that record-breaking contract.
Oh yeah,
and that's
he upped it for 100 million basically because we went 10 years, 200. Because I remember Duquette talked about, I think this was 2012 and 13. It was early. We said, hey, 10 years, 200. And he just rejected it flat out. Didn't even think about it, just said no. Now, guess what? He won in the long run by not accepting that. He got 100 million more.
Yeah.
So, but we did put an offer out. Now, at the same time, I think if you're a hometown, like if you want to be the one repping the Orioles across your chest, I think he would have taken it if he really wanted to rep Orioles for his career.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I would like a Mike Trout. I would like a more successful Mike Trout for the Baltimore Orioles in that, Mike Trout is willing to spend the rest of his career with the Angels, and the Angels.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: he's been there. 2 contract extensions is what he's got out of the Angels too. So I mean, they did it, but yeah, we traded away one of the 2 guys that you thought was going to be it. So now Gunner's your only one of. If you really want a face for this new era of Baltimore baseball, it's Gunner.
Yeah.
And if he goes, it's who is it after that? I don't have a clue. Like, I don't know who's going to be the next face. Like, Pete Alonso is definitely one of those faces. But to me, Pete Alonso is more Chris Davis, where like Gunner and Adley were Adam Jones, where Adam Jones is the face of your franchise, but you have some big pieces around as well.
If I had to put it, I would say like Gunner and Adley were like Adam Jones and Nick Markakis for those years.
Yeah.
And then, obviously Adley's gone, so now it's just Gunner. And, maybe
it's a good analogy because guess what? If Gunner goes too, then you got lonely Pete Alonso, like we had lonely Chris Davis after that. It's just we got a lonely polar bear over at first base.
Hopefully Pete Alonso doesn't get the yips like Chris Davis.
Oh god. I'm telling you, this is giving me nightmares now. I'm thinking, oh gosh, are we going back to this? Of like we got the lonely Chris Davis who can't figure it out in the later part of his career.
I do think like we are discounting Jackson Holiday, and I do think Jackson Holiday is a young guy, and I think if you give him the everyday playing time, because he's been getting playing time more as of late, and guess what he's been doing more as of late? Getting on base, hitting, And I know everybody's saying, "Oh, Jackson Holiday's a bust." Jackson Holiday, I just still think it's too early.
It's too early to tell. Holiday's like scope.
I think Holiday is because he was hurt for the first two or 3 months of the year, And coming off the Jaime bone, you gotta
Yeah,
relearn how to feel your hand.
yeah.
So
He's pulling that Brian Roberts, late Brian Roberts, where it's
yeah,
just
I mean, next season I'd say is a pivotal season, I think, for Jackson Holiday.
Here's the thing: this off season, I don't want to wait until the CBA expires. Build the big chunks of your roster out before.
Yeah,
Have the guys in place so you don't have to deal with it afterwards if there's a salary cap.
yeah,
If there's all this other stuff, where it's like, hey, we shortened arbitration to 5 years, or it's like the Rule 5, we changed the rules of that, so now you got to call these guys up everyone in 4 years or something like that. You got to put them on the 40-man. Like, I think we really need to just pick the guys we want to build around before the CBA expires and say, here's the biggest chunks of our roster. They're done, right? We got the rotation down. Don't have to worry about that. We just need to find a bullpen piece, not a back end, but like a middle bullpen piece or two, and a couple bench players. Like, we got the utility guys, Jeremiah Jackson, Blaze Alexander. You got your 2 utility guys right there. I don't think you really need to go deep into the bench pieces, but we definitely need a catcher. I think at this, you need someone who can catch 50% of the games.
Yeah.
I don't think Basayo can do more than 50%.
Well, I just think you need the vet. You need a guy who is going to, when you put him in the lineup, he's not going to be a productive bat, but he's going to be that defensive catcher who can run the pitching staff.
Guess what? The Reds got Tyler Stevenson and Hunter Green. There's a trade made in heaven. I mean, that's seriously. Just imagine if you get those 2 guys.
Did you see the Jim Jim Palmer tweet?
No, what did Jim Palmer say?
Somebody tweeted Jim Palmer, and they were like, "Hey, Jim, what are your honest thoughts on the Adley Rutschman trade?"
Oh, Jim probably went off.
No, they were like, "Give us your unfiltered thoughts. What do you have to lose?" And then the only thing Jim said was, "My job."
Here's the thing, Jim Palmer, when he's on air, he will go off and he's like, "I'm tired." He went off on Chris Davis. He's like, honestly, like, people have invited Chris Davis to come help and fix this situation, and he refuses. Like, he called him out on air saying, this is on Chris Davis because he's not putting in the time and the effort to fix this situation.
Yeah.
See, I love Jim Palmer. Jim Palmer, Ben McDonald, 2 great unfiltered guys to have on there. At least you get the honest opinion.
I love when they have all 3 of them, Ben, Jim, and Kevin Brown.
Mike Bordick. Throw Mike Bordick in there too.
Well, Mike Bordick doesn't really do the on-game commentary. I'm talking about when you have all 3 of them like on air a game.
Yeah.
Mike Bordick on the Fan though, like, I like listening to. I don't really listen to the Fan a lot, but when Mike Bordick's on, I'll listen. And yeah, obviously he's been pitching all year about the lack of fundamentals, and just like the loss of like the baseball skills that were so important back in the day.
Well,
that's not even an Oriole problem. That's like across baseball problem.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Bill and Cal Ripken said it best. Baseball, simple game. Hit, catch, throw. 3 simple things. Hardest things to do in life in sports. But guess what? It's that simple. That's all you have to do in baseball.
Yeah, and I do hope that there is a little bit. I know that Cal Ripken is supposedly taking a more of an active role in like the development process of young players, and I'm hoping he is able to put his father's mindset and philosophy.
Yeah. Well, if you want my honest opinion in a lot of this, it's travel baseball has gotten too big, where you're playing tournaments every weekend. You're not practicing your fundamentals. You're just playing games, Like, if you don't work on your fundamentals and you're just playing games, you're not going to get any better. You know,
Right.
it's like, yeah, it's nice to see 80 plus 90-mile-an-hour pitching every weekend, but are you putting in the time to work on your fielding? Like the Harford County Community College coach, when I was with Rifkin, I talked with him. He said, all I do is I recruit pitchers that can throw 90 plus and basically corner outfielders and first basemen that can hit bombs. And I just throw them out in the field. I don't worry about it because my pitchers are supposed to strike people out, and so they don't need to field that much. And my offense is supposed to hit balls over the wall. And guess what? They were a pretty decent JUCO team with that mindset. But it only takes you so far if you don't have the other pieces accounted for.
Yeah, and I do think there is a little bit of a reverting back in baseball. And I think we've seen like bunting return, a lot of more small ball emphasis. The on base percentage has become more important. But
well,
still, I just think
it's harder to hit 100-mile-an-hour pitching when everybody's throwing 100. So at some point, you just got to put the ball in play and hope people can get on base and run around.
You got faster fastballs, and you got pitchers throwing way more off speed and breaking balls than they've ever thrown before, and it's So anyway,
Any
that's all I
final
got
thoughts
to say about that.
Yeah.
Watch the Orioles fuck around and make the wild card. I'll lose my shit.
Gosh. I swear to God, if Reese Hines goes off, I'm gonna be like, what? I'm gonna be like,
Michael
what?
Elias, you're a genius.
Michael Elias, how did you know Reese Hines was gonna do this?
I know.
Like seriously, I'm gonna be like, this dude from the Nationals we got that's never played in the bigs at 26, and Michael Elias, how did you know that these two guys were gonna be the ones to put us in the wild card?